My son quietly crept in during the night. Whispers of deception, a tale of betrayal. That Friday night unfolded with an intensity that etched itself into my memory, a night so unforgettable it felt like a tale waiting to be told. The house enveloped me in a serene hush, a tranquil embrace that stirred a rare sense of calm within my soul. After a grueling week, fatigue weighed heavily on me, and all I yearned for was the embrace of sleep. As I settled in, I believed that nothing could break the serene stillness of the night. For 8 long years, I walked the path of a single mother, ever since the day my marriage came to an end. My former partner and I shared a journey that wasn't marked by animosity, rather, we simply drifted in different directions. Raising my son Daniel alone was a journey filled with both immense rewards and formidable challenges, unlike anything I had ever experienced. He embodied all that I cherished, intelligent, humorous, and compassionate. Yet, the challenge of embodying both parental roles weighed heavily on me. That night, exhaustion enveloped me like a heavy blanket, leaving me with just enough strength to slip into my pajamas before surrendering to the embrace of sleep. In the stillness of the house, a profound silence enveloped the space. After a long evening filled with video games and the completion of his homework, Daniel had retired to bed, drifting off into the realm of dreams hours earlier. At last, I found a precious moment of solitude in my room. The moonlight danced through the delicate, wavy curtains, painting gentle shadows upon the walls. As I nestled beneath the cozy blanket, I reveled in the comforting warmth, allowing my thoughts to drift freely. Recently, life had settled into a serene rhythm, a welcome contrast to the tumultuous year that had come before. Daniel and I had traversed many trials since his father departed, yet we had woven a rich tapestry of life together, even as Daniel approached his 20th year. Our bond remained strong. He possessed a heart full of kindness and a mind that always considered others. At times, I found myself concerned that he bore an overwhelming weight of responsibility for someone so young. A smile crept across my face as memories of him danced in my mind. His kindness enveloped me, and I couldn't help but feel fortunate to have him woven into the fabric of my life. Yet, this evening, my mind was too weary to wander. A weight settled upon me, lulling me into a drowsy haze. Suddenly, a gentle tap echoed through the stillness of my bedroom door. I stirred from my slumber, a fleeting thought crossing my mind that perhaps this moment was woven into the fabric of a dream. Yet, the knock arrived once more, soft and inviting, and I found myself wide awake. "Mother!" Daniel's voice, though soft, held a power that stirred me from my slumber. I blinked, striving to sharpen my gaze on the door. In the soft glow filtering through the hallway, I could make out the silhouette of Daniel. I propped myself up, striving to shake off the remnants of sleep. "Daniel, what troubles you?" I inquired, my voice heavy with slumber. He lingered for a moment at the threshold, then gently shut the door, allowing silence to envelop the space. He appeared hesitant about stepping inside. He stood near my bed, looking down, and said, "I couldn't sleep." A sense of unease washed over me, for I could sense that something was troubling him ever since the divorce unfolded. Daniel occasionally found himself wrestling with the elusive embrace of sleep, yet he seldom shared this struggle with others. I could sense the weight of his father's departure, a pain he concealed beneath a brave facade. This evening, however, the sorrow in his eyes spoke volumes, revealing the depth of his heartache. "Gather around," I whispered gently, invitingly patting the vacant spot beside me on the bed. "If you wish, you may find a place beside me tonight." He paused for a heartbeat, then approached and settled down beside me. He lay on his side, facing me, and I could see the weariness etched on his face in the dim light. Illumination. He appeared to be exposed, a rarity for him. "Would you like to share your thoughts on it?" I inquired softly. Daniel shook his head, his dark hair cascading over his eyes like a curtain drawn in a dimly lit room. "Oh, I simply yearned to be near you." A gentle warmth enveloped my heart. It had been some time since Daniel had longed to be near me in this way. In his younger days, I gently reached out, sweeping his hair aside from his forehead, a smile gracing my lips as I looked at him. "It's all right," I murmured, resting my hand gently on his shoulder. "Feel free to linger for as long as your heart desires." He returned the smile, yet I could sense a shadow lingering in his eyes, something weighing on his mind. An unspoken matter that lingered in the shadows. I chose not to inquire about it with him. Instead, I reclined once more, drawing the blanket around us like a protective cocoon, allowing the soothing silence to envelop us in its gentle embrace. We lingered in that moment, savoring the tranquility that surrounded us. As Daniel's breathing gradually eased, a thought crossed my mind. He had drifted into slumber, yet his voice emerged once more, gentle and hushed. I could barely catch his words. "Mother, do you ever find yourself longing for him?" His question caught me off guard, yet I understood he was referring to his father. It was a question I had danced around for years, one I couldn't quite find the words to unravel. "I do sometimes," I confessed softly, yet the bond between us was strained. "Daniel," he gave a nod, yet I sensed a deeper curiosity within him, a desire to uncover more. "Have you ever pondered how the tale might have unfolded differently?" he inquired. With a heavy heart, I reflected on the shadows of bygone choices, pondering the weight of regrets, yet understanding that the past remains unalterable. We must continue our journey ahead. Daniel gazed downward, his fingers tracing the delicate edge of the blanket. I find myself pondering whether there might have been another path I could have taken. If only I had been better, you know. His words pierced my heart. I propped myself up and turned to meet his gaze. "Daniel, absolutely not. This was not your doing. You acted with integrity." I spoke with conviction. He averted his gaze, his voice barely a murmur. "At times, it seems that if I had been different, perhaps my father would have chosen to stay." Tears welled up in my. With a gaze that spoke volumes, I embraced him fiercely. For a brief moment, he held back, but soon he embraced me, pressing his face into my shoulder. "Daniel, lend me your ear." I spoke, my voice trembling. He charted his own course, guided by his own decisions. It was not about you at all. It was his choice, and it was never yours to bear. Your presence has always surpassed my expectations. "Daniel," I murmured, my voice brimming with affection and comfort. "You mean the world to me." He leaned against my shoulder, yet I could still feel the unease brewing inside him. The burden of countless years filled with silent suffering and remorse. We embraced tightly, the quiet surrounding us a soothing remedy. Slowly, he let go of the day's tensions, his body unwinding as his breaths grew deeper, guiding him gently into the realm of dreams. As he lay there, lost in a serene slumber beside me, my mind was a tempest, a whirlwind of thoughts and memories dancing in the shadows. We had both faced countless trials, and yet, in the serene warmth of that shared embrace, an unforeseen emotion began to awaken within me, a feeling I struggled to define. A warmth blossomed within my chest, a connection that transcended the ordinary, weaving a tapestry of intimacy that surpassed the typical bond shared between a mother and her son. I attempted to push it aside, concentrating instead on the cadence of his breath. Yet the sensation lingered, an unyielding murmur that would not be silenced. Morning crept in quietly, the soft light of dawn brushing the room with tender shades. Daniel lay beside me, enveloped in a deep slumber, his features serene and untroubled, as if the worries of the night before had drifted away like whispers in the wind. I observed him for a moment, my heart brimming with affection and pride. Yet that strange sensation lingered, a constant whisper beneath the warmth of my maternal love. With a gentle grace, I eased myself from the warmth of the bed, mindful of his slumber, and quietly descended the stairs to begin the morning ritual of breakfast preparation. The comforting rhythm of cooking wrapped around me like a warm blanket, yet my mind wandered back to the echoes of our late-night conversation. Daniel had always possessed a deep sensitivity, yet I had not fully grasped how profoundly he had absorbed the void left by his father's absence. The weight of his guilt pressed down on my heart, a heavy burden I longed to lift. Yet, it wasn't merely the action that remained etched in my thoughts, It was the way he gazed at me, the raw vulnerability reflected in his eyes, the silent yearning for something deeper. And if I were to be truthful with myself, the warmth I experienced while holding him had awakened something profound within me, a bond that reached beyond the confines of our familial roles. I endeavored to cast the thought aside, whispering to myself that he was my son. Yet the sensation lingered, an unyielding murmur that would not be hushed any time soon. Daniel awoke from his dreams, his hair a wild mess, his tall, slender figure still holding on to the remnants of youth. Yet there was a newfound depth in his eyes, a glimpse of the man he was destined to become. I welcomed him with a gentle smile, attempting to conceal the remnants of the feelings that had stirred within me the night prior. "Good morning, sleepyhead," I said, setting a plate of pancakes in front of him. As the sun peeked through the curtains, he let out a soft murmur, finding his place in the familiar embrace of his chair, ready to savor the morning feast before him. In a serene hush, we savored our meal. The soft morning light spilled into the kitchen, wrapping it in a gentle embrace. His gaze would occasionally linger on me, yet I opted to keep the events of the previous night unspoken. He appeared more relaxed, more true to himself, and I was reluctant to disturb the delicate harmony we had finally discovered as silence enveloped us. "Gratitude fills my heart for the moments we shared last night, dear Mom." I required that. His openness took me by surprise. "There's no need for gratitude from you. Daniel, my unwavering support will always be by your side, come what may." He nodded, yet his eyes stayed locked on mine. An unvoiced inquiry hung in the atmosphere, leaving me uncertain of how to reply, how to steer through the delicate transformation in our bond. A new intensity flickered in his eyes, a deep yearning for a connection that reached beyond the conventional ties of mother and son. Within me, a part one had long kept hidden stirred, echoing that same desire. After breakfast, he lingered at the counter, his fingers dancing along the surface. Designs etched upon the surface of the countertop. "Have you ever pondered how the tapestry of life might have woven itself differently?" he inquired softly, his tone laden with unexpressed feelings. A heavy sigh escaped my lips, as the burdens of bygone regrets enveloped me. "Perhaps," I responded gently, "yet we cannot alter the past. Our only path is to strive onward." Daniel nodded, his eyes locked onto his fidgeting fingers, a silent tale unfolding in the quiet of the moment. "At times, I find myself pondering whether there might have been a more fitting path I could have taken, you see." His voice floated softly, tinged with a heavy sense of remorse and self-criticism. His words cut through me, and I found myself compelled to extend my hand toward him. I rested my hand on his shoulder, inviting him into a warm embrace. "Daniel, you have nothing to worry about." It was important for me to convey to him that none of this was his doing, a gentle reminder of the truth that lay beyond the shadows of blame. My voice, rich and heavy with feeling. He averted his gaze, his voice a mere whisper in the air. "At times, it seems that if I had been different, perhaps my father would have chosen to stay." As I drew him nearer, emotion surged within me, and I embraced him with all my strength. He held back for a. In that fleeting instant, he yielded to the warmth, pressing his face into the comfort of my shoulder. "Daniel, hear me now," I urged, my voice steady and resolute. "The decisions made by your father belong solely to him. You are, and have always been, more than sufficient. His departure was entirely unrelated to you." He nodded slowly, his body melting against mine, the tension in his shoulders gradually dissipating. As he nestled into the warm embrace. Once more, I sensed that strange warmth swell inside me, a blend of relief, affection, and an unmistakable bond that tied us together. The connection we shared, once clearly marked by the titles of mother and son, appeared to be transforming, blossoming into an unfamiliar yet profound relationship, one that neither of us could fully grasp, yet both sensed deeply within. In that fleeting instant, I embraced him tightly, allowing the magic of the moment to unfold, free from the weight of questions or the need for explanations. Uncertainty loomed over the path our newfound closeness would carve, yet I felt the unmistakable shift in the fabric of our lives, signaling that this was merely the dawn of something profound. In the stillness of the night, wrapped in the comforting embrace of my son, a deep understanding began to unfold within me. The fragile equilibrium of our connection was wavering, hanging on the edge of an impending transformation. Fresh and unexplored. A shiver of unease ran through me, a faint murmur of doubt about what this change could signify for us. Yet amidst the apprehension, there lingered an undeniable sense of anticipation, a whisper that this was just the prologue to a journey into the unknown. With a gentle insistence, dawn crept in, the soft tendrils of sunlight weaving their way through the curtains, rousing me from slumber beside me. Daniel drifted into a tranquil slumber, his expression calm and at ease. The weight of the night before fades into the background. I observed him for a moment, my heart swelling with a familiar maternal love, yet beneath that well-known affection, a different current stirred, a sensation I couldn't quite define. It was the same strange feeling that had lingered at the fringes of my mind the night before, a sensation that both captivated and disturbed me. With a gentle grace, I eased myself from the warmth of the bed, mindful of his peaceful dreams, and descended the stairs to embrace the comforting ritual of preparing breakfast. As I stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with practiced ease, my thoughts wandered. Let us return to the depths of our late-night dialogue. Daniel had always been a tender spirit, yet I had failed to comprehend the profound nature of his inner turmoil. The burden of his father's absence lingered in the air, a palpable guilt that he had tucked away for far too long. It pressed down on my heart, but there was a deeper story woven into the fabric of his silence. There was a change in his demeanor, in the way he sought comfort in my embrace, a longing for a connection that went beyond the usual limits of mother and son, and if, in a moment of truth, I acknowledged the warmth that enveloped me when I held him, a comfort that transcended mere maternal instinct. I set the thought aside, directing my attention to the task before me. He's merely a boy, I reminded myself. Your son, yet the sensation remained, an enduring murmur that would not fade away. Daniel finally emerged from his slumber, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, his hair tousled, a picture of youthful innocence. Yet, there was a newfound maturity in his gaze, a hint of the man he was becoming. He was transforming. With a warm smile, I welcomed him, striving to conceal the emotions that still clung to me from the night prior. Good morning, sleepyhead, I sang, setting down a plate of golden pancakes in front of him. As the sun began to rise, he let out a soft murmur, finding his place in the chair that welcomed him. With a sense of anticipation, he eagerly indulged in the feast before him. We dined in a serene hush, the morning sunlight enveloping the kitchen in a gentle warmth. I sensed his gaze upon me from time to time, yet I held my tongue, unprepared to explore the intricate layers of the revelations of the night before. He appeared more relaxed, more true to himself, and I was reluctant to disturb the delicate harmony we had finally discovered as silence enveloped us. His voice woven with appreciation. Thank you for last night, Mom. I required that. His openness caught me off guard. There's no need for gratitude from you. Daniel, the first, offered him comfort. No matter the circumstances, my presence will remain steadfast by your side. He nodded, yet his gaze held fast, a silent inquiry reflected in his eyes, echoing the unvoiced feelings I had been wrestling with. His eyes possessed a profound depth, an intensity that reached beyond the warm familiarity of our mother-son connection. As the sun rose, the hours drifted by in a quiet, unremarkable manner. Daniel withdrew to his room, lost in the world of homework and video games, while I occupied myself with the rhythm of household chores. Yet, an unspoken change lingered in the air between us. It was a subtle shift, a hushed tension, a silent recognition of the profound bond that had blossomed as the day gracefully gave way to night. My mind wandered back to Daniel, to his journey from boyhood to young manhood, to the bond we had forged the night before. As I reflected deeply, it became increasingly clear that my emotions for him had transformed, surpassing the limits of a mother's affection. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the day began to fade, we nestled into the couch, ready to embark on a cinematic journey after our evening meal. The room was softly illuminated, with the flickering images on the screen weaving playful shadows that danced across the walls. In the hush of the moment, we found solace, reveling in the unspoken bond that tied us together. As the film unfolded, I found myself increasingly attuned to his closeness, the gentle caress of his arm against mine with every slight movement. My heart raced, and I attempted to immerse myself in the film, yet the tension between us lingered, a silent melody of unvoiced feelings. As the film unfolded, Daniel leaned in, his arm brushing against mine, creating a moment charged with unspoken connection. This time, he remained steadfast. The gentle heat of his skin pressed against mine ignited a spark of awareness within me. As I cast a fleeting look his way, our gazes intertwined. His gaze burned with a newfound intensity, mirroring the emotions I had been striving to keep at bay all day. In a moment that felt both spontaneous and profound, I found my hand reaching for his, our fingers weaving together effortlessly. He welcomed my touch, squeezing my hand with a tender grip, his thumb gliding in a gentle circle across my skin. The gentle act stirred a wave within my heart, a feeling that was both known and thrillingly fresh. We lingered in that moment, hands intertwined in the soft glow, a quiet reflection of the evolving nature of our bond. It was a pivotal moment, a silent acknowledgement that rose above the confines of our family dynamics. Uncertainty loomed ahead, yet I sensed a shift in the air. Dan had transformed, evolving beyond the role of merely being my son. He was something beyond the ordinary, a person I cherished in a manner that eluded any clear description. The film came to a close, yet we lingered on the couch, the credits unfolding around us unnoticed. I rested my head on his shoulder, sensing the rhythmic rise and fall of his chest with each breath he took. It was a small gesture, yet it felt deeply significant, a quiet recognition of the bond that was unfolding between us, Mom. Daniel murmured, his voice a soft breath in the stillness. Ah, it brings me joy to have you here with me. His words, both humble and deep, resonated with the feelings nestled within my own heart. I felt a warmth in my heart, grateful for his presence, for this surprising intimacy that had woven itself into our moment together. The warmth of my son's embrace wrapped around me in the darkness, a mix of terror and exhilaration coursing through my veins as I lay there, fully aware of the profound connection we shared. A deep understanding enveloped me. The fragile equilibrium of our connection was in flux, poised on the brink of an unfamiliar and uncharted territory. A shiver of unease ran through my being. A soft murmur of doubt lingers, casting shadows over what this change may hold for us in the future. In the midst of uncertainty, a palpable excitement lingered, a dawning realization that this was just the first step into uncharted territory. Dawn crept in with a tender touch, the delicate strands of sunlight threading through the curtains, gently stirring me from my dreams beside me. Daniel lay in a tranquil slumber, his expression calm and at ease, as if the weight of the night before had drifted away into the ether. I observed him for a moment, my heart brimming with a deep, nurturing affection. Yet beneath that familiar warmth an unseen current flowed, a feeling I struggled to articulate. It was the same strange feeling that had lingered at the fringes of my consciousness the night before, a sensation that both captivated and disturbed me. With a gentle grace, I eased myself from the warmth of the bed, mindful of the peaceful rhythm of his dreams, and descended the stairs to embrace the comforting ritual of preparing breakfast. As I stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with practiced ease, my mind wandered back to our late-night conversation. Daniel had always been a sensitive soul, yet I had not fully understood the profound nature of his internal struggle, nor the way he bore the weight of his father's absence. The burden of guilt he carried, a secret shrouded in shadows, had lingered far too long in the depths of his heart. At this moment, it bore down on my heart, yet there was a deeper layer to it all. A transformation unfolded in his demeanor, a subtle change as he sought refuge in my embrace, a deep longing for a connection that surpassed the conventional limits of mother and son. And if I were to speak my truth, I had sensed it as well, a warmth that enveloped me when I cradled him, a solace that transcended mere maternal instinct. I set the thought aside, honing in on the task before me. Why, he's merely a lad. I recalled your son, yet the sensation remained an enduring murmur that would not fade away. Daniel finally stirred from his dreams, his eyes blinking awake, hair in delightful disarray, embodying the essence of youthful charm. Yet there was a newfound depth in his gaze, a whisper of the man he was destined to become. With a warm smile, I welcomed him, trying to conceal the emotions that still lingered from the night before. "Good morning, sleepyhead," I called out, setting a plate of golden pancakes in front of him. As the sun began to rise, he softly greeted the day, sinking into his chair with a sense of anticipation, eagerly savoring each bite of his breakfast. In the gentle embrace of the morning, we shared our meal in a serene hush, the sunlight pouring into the kitchen, wrapping us in a golden warmth. His gaze would occasionally brush against me, yet I chose to remain quiet, unprepared to navigate the intricate web of the revelations from the night before. He appeared to be more relaxed, more true to himself, and I was reluctant to disturb the delicate harmony we had discovered. At last, he shattered the stillness, his voice rich with appreciation. Gratitude for the enchanting evening we shared. Mother, I truly required that. His openness caught me off guard. There's no need for gratitude from you. Daniel, the first, offered him comfort. Through every twist and turn, my presence will remain steadfast by your side. He nodded, yet his gaze held steady, a silent inquiry reflected in his eyes, echoing the unvoiced feelings I had been wrestling with. His eyes possessed a profound depth, an intensity that reached beyond the warm embrace of our mother's familiar comfort. On Sunday, the day meandered along without a hint of excitement. Daniel withdrew to his sanctuary, lost in the realms of homework and video games, while I occupied myself with the rhythm of household chores. Yet, the air that surrounded us had quietly transformed. It was a subtle shift, a hushed tension, an unvoiced recognition of the profound bond that had blossomed as the day gracefully slipped into night. My mind drifted back to Daniel, to his journey from boyhood to young manhood, to the bond we had forged the night before. As I reflected deeper, it became clear that my emotions for him had transformed, surpassing the limits of a mother's affection. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the day began to fade, we found our cozy spot on the couch, ready to embark on a cinematic journey after dinner. The room was softly illuminated, with the flickering images on the screen weaving playful shadows that twirled across the walls. In the quiet moments, we found solace, simply savoring the warmth of one another's company. As the film unfolded, I found myself increasingly attuned to his closeness, the gentle caress of his arm against mine with every slight movement. My heart raced, and I struggled to immerse myself in the film, yet the electric tension between us lingered in the air. A quiet melody of unvoiced feelings unfolded as the film progressed, and Daniel leaned in, his arm brushing against mine. This time, he remained steadfast. The gentle heat of his skin pressed against mine ignited a thrilling awareness within me. As I cast a fleeting look his way, our gazes intertwined in a moment of silent connection. His gaze burned with a newfound intensity, mirroring the emotions I had been striving to keep at bay all day. In a moment that felt almost instinctual, I extended my hand and grasped his, our fingers weaving together in an unspoken connection. He surrendered to the moment, his hand enveloping mine with a tender grip, his thumb gliding in a gentle rhythm across my skin. The gentle act stirred something deep within me, a feeling that was both known and thrillingly fresh. We lingered in that moment, hands intertwined in the soft glow, a quiet reflection of the evolving nature of our bond. It was a pivotal moment, a silent recognition that surpassed the limits of our family dynamics. Uncertain of what lay ahead, I sensed a shift in the air. Daniel was evolving, stepping beyond the bounds of merely being my son. He was something extraordinary, a person I cherished in a manner that transcended all description. The film concluded, yet we lingered on the couch, the credits flowing by, unnoticed in our shared silence. I rested my head on his shoulder, sensing the rhythmic rise and fall of his chest with each breath he took. It was a small gesture, yet it resonated with a deep sense of intimacy. A quiet recognition of the bond that was unfolding between us, Mom. Daniel murmured, his voice a soft breath in the stillness. Ah, how wonderful it is to have you here with us. His words, both unadorned and deeply resonant, mirrored the feelings nestled within my own heart. Joy filled me at his presence, a warmth blossoming from this unanticipated bond, a fresh intimacy that danced between fear and thrill. And for the first time in what seemed like an eternity, I experienced a profound sense of being truly alive. In that moment, clarity reigned supreme, free from confusion or guilt, revealing only the unfiltered essence of our love. A love that blossomed from countless shared moments, woven with trust and understanding, transcending even the bonds of blood. It was a love that flowed effortlessly, as essential as the air we breathe, as certain as the dawn breaking each day. In the quiet aftermath of our entwined souls, we lingered, the stillness broken only by the gentle cadence of our breaths, a testament to the fervor we had just shared. Daniel finally withdrew his gaze, seeking mine with a warmth that melted my heart. "Are we all right?" he inquired, his voice a soft whisper that danced through the shadows. I nodded, momentarily lost for words, my heart brimming with emotions that transcended language. "Indeed," I murmured, my voice heavy with the weight of untold stories. "Are we all right?" As the evening wore on, with the last traces of dinner whisked away, and the home wrapped in a serene stillness, Daniel and I took our places on the back porch, surrounded by the soothing embrace of the night. The air held a refreshing chill, while the stars sparkled like precious gems strewn across the endless expanse of the night sky. After weeks of burden, a wave of relief washed over me, as if the heavy weight that had been pressing down was finally lifted. Our silence spoke volumes, rendering words superfluous. Just being close to him, basking in the serene charm of the night, was all that mattered. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, enveloped in a soothing quiet that conveyed more than words ever could. Whatever this was between us, it was blossoming naturally, and I was at peace with allowing it to happen. In a moment of gentle unfolding, he reached for my hand, his touch igniting a warmth within me that spread like wildfire. With a soft smile, I gently squeezed his hand, and we lingered in that moment together. Our connection had flourished into something exquisite, something that satisfied a longing we hadn't even realized existed. It was on a rainy afternoon in late autumn that the true depth of our love enveloped me. The sky painted itself in stormy grays, while the rain drummed a steady rhythm against the windows. Daniel and I nestled together on the couch in the living room, a fire crackling in the hearth, casting a warm glow that embraced the space around us. We found ourselves enveloped in a cozy blanket, surrounded by the gentle glow of the fire, savoring the sweet intimacy of our shared closeness. Crafting a sanctuary amidst the tempest beyond. Daniel leaned against me, his head resting on my shoulder, and I absent-mindedly ran my fingers through his hair, relishing the serene closeness of the moment. Instance. The rain-streaked windows softened the view beyond, wrapping us in a cocoon of solitude, as if we were adrift in our own private realm. I sensed his breathing becoming slow and steady, and without a single word exchanged, I understood that he was experiencing the same change in our bond, the same irresistible draw towards something deeper. Deeply meaningful. He raised his gaze, our eyes locking in a profound connection, and in that instant, the essence of our love revealed itself. Echoed through our connection. It was more than mere love, it was a bond that rose above the conventional roles we had assumed, a connection that blossomed into something profound, something impossible to ignore. "Mother," he murmured, his voice heavy with feeling. I held my breath, poised in silence, anticipating his next words, aware that they would alter the course of everything. "I love you," he revealed. His hand extends toward mine, not merely because you hold the title of my mother, but because of the essence of who you are, every intricate detail that makes you, you. I find myself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, unsure if this is right or wrong, yet I cannot resist the pull of it all. His words enveloped me like a gentle tide, infusing the space with a warmth that stirred my heart. Pain in the most exquisite manner. I had sensed his feelings, but when he voiced them, acknowledging the depth of his emotions, it transformed everything into a vivid reality. I grasped his hand tightly, sensing the gentle pulse of his heartbeat thrumming softly beneath my fingertips. "Daniel," I murmured, my voice quivering just a bit. "I cherish you as well. My heart has always held a deep affection for you, yet this moment feels different. Distinct." He nodded, his gaze probing into mine, seeking the comfort of reassurance, the response to the silent question that lingered in the air between us. I'm not quite sure what this signifies, I continued, yet I can sense the. In the same manner, it doesn't strike me as incorrect, rather it resonates as true. A gentle smile graced his lips, and my heart swelled with a joy I had never experienced before. I'm pleased to hear that, he murmured, for I can't imagine what I would do if it were otherwise. Once upon a time, in a world filled with wonder, there existed a singular figure who embarked on a journey of self-discovery. This individual, with a heart full of dreams, and a mind brimming with tales, sought to weave the fabric of their experiences into a tapestry of life. Each moment became a thread, each encounter a vibrant color, as they navigated the winding paths of existence. With every step, the story unfolded, rich with the essence of adventure and the whispers of the past, inviting all to listen closely to the echoes of their journey. My hand glided upwards, gently brushing against his cheek, savoring the warmth of his skin under my fingertips. We shall unravel this mystery together. I offered him comfort, and together we lingered in a moment of quietude. With our eyes intertwined, the soft rhythm of the rain, and the sporadic bursts of fireworks became mere background whispers, unnecessary to the moment we shared. We had already expressed all that was essential. We were acutely aware of the emotions that stirred within us, a truth that was palpable and inescapable. Gently, Daniel. He leaned in, his gaze locked onto mine, and with a gentle hesitation, he pressed his lips against mine. It was a gentle, delicate a kiss, brimming with all the affection and yearning we had kept at bay for what felt like an eternity. In that moment time stood still, there was an effortless flow, a serene dance of souls intertwined, reflecting the essence of our profound bond. As he withdrew, his gaze brimmed with feeling, and I realized we had stepped into a new realm. A point of. There was no turning back, yet rather than fear, a profound sense of peace enveloped me, a deep-seated certainty that this was precisely where we were destined to be. He drew me nearer, his arms enveloping me, and we clung to one another as the rain poured down, the fire casting a gentle warmth over our embrace in that fleeting moment. I was aware that, whatever trials awaited us, we would confront them side by side. The remainder of the evening unfolded as in a haze of tender caresses, hushed exchanges, and delicate pecks. We refrained from delving into the future or the consequences of our blossoming affection. What truly held significance was in that moment, a profound connection lingered, while the rain softly fell, creating a tranquil atmosphere. It was astonishing to witness the swift evolution of our relationship. Daniel had transformed from a boy into a man, and in that journey, our connection had deepened into an unforeseen twist, a breathtaking moment, a perfect match for our souls. That night, Daniel entered my room once more, but this time, he carried an air of certainty. He nestled into bed beside me. His arms enveloped me, drawing me in tightly. It was not the warm, nurturing embrace shared between a mother and her son. It was the embrace of lovers, equals. Two spirits woven together. I laid my head upon his chest, attuned to the steady cadence of his heartbeat, a harmonious blend of love and tranquility. A wave of tranquility washed over me, a wholeness I had long forgotten. I was absent. Whatever this was, whatever it had transformed into, I stood prepared for it. Daniel and I had always shared a bond, but now we found ourselves entwined in something deeper, something that transcended the ordinary. Explanation. We were partners, lovers, two souls intertwined in a love that soared beyond the limits of convention. As I surrendered to the embrace of slumber, a gentle smile danced upon my lips. It was wild, I realized, yet it filled me with exhilaration.